Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She comes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm Josh Guesman along with Wendy Thomas, and on today's show we're going to recap the LA Galaxy's gritty victory over the Portland Timbers in the US Open Cup. Was this really a team of young guns or perhaps just a couple of well-placed youngsters? We're also going to go over LA Galaxy news, including Ashley Cole and the disciplinary committee, short-term loan parameters, and of course, fireworks. Fireworks. Finally, we're getting you ready for the annual 4th of July game as the Galaxy play host to the Vancouver Whitecaps on Monday night. We've got a great show lined up, so don't waste any more time. Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com starts right now.
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Now here are your hosts, Josh Guesman and Wendy Thomas.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman, Miss Wendy Thomas with you. Glad to be back in the Corner of the Galaxy studios talking some LA Galaxy soccer, especially after the LA Galaxy go up to Portland and slap that kitty. No pity for the kitty. All right? It was a lot of fun, actually. A 1-0 win. I'm going to take that every single day, as a matter of fact. If the LA Galaxy just want to start winning games 1-0, I'm okay with that. I know that Wendy's okay with that as well. Wendy, how are you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while.
Well, when the LA Galaxy gets a road win, I get a little discombobulated because I'm very unaccustomed to this feeling of
Right.
LA Galaxy road win. It's such a rarity that I don't really know how to feel when it happens.
Right.
Because it's like a comet, it comes by once every 76 years. So I feel strange.
It does feel strange. Again, U.S. Open Cup, so not necessarily MLS competition, but Portland played some younger players. The LA Galaxy had some younger players. That's certainly something I want to get into, but just the overall feel of that game, first of all, is I'd really like to thank the LA Galaxy for giving me a heart attack for 85 minutes, because that's what happens whenever you score in the 5th minute and then really don't put too many other chances on goal. But quite honestly, Portland didn't put a whole bunch of chances on goal. They had some chances in the first half. The first half is where all the action happened. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so my sense of it was that during the first half, I know we scored, but actually that Portland had much the better of it.
Yes.
I felt like Portland was constantly doing breakaways, breaking on the counter, and Jack McInerney, if he ever learns that you're supposed to shoot the ball at the net, we are in trouble, because I feel like he was so lively, and they actually had a lot of chances. I feel like,
Right.
but it was like they would sky the shot from I think maybe they were just a little over anxious about getting a goal, because I kept feeling that they were pulling the trigger really quickly on shooting, because there was shots they took where they were like way outside the penalty. I mean, just way outside the box, nowhere near it, but
Right.
they were just going for those shots. And I feel like, I saw that they took 13 shots and had 1 on target.
That's correct.
Which gives you a sense of exactly how urgent they felt the need was to get that goal. But I think that if they had just been a little bit more patient, they definitely would have gotten an equalizer.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to, or at least it comes down to for me as well. I thought that if they maybe were a little more patient, I agree. I think they would have had something. I didn't feel the fight from them. Usually in the dying moments of a game, you expect Portland to just be throwing everything at the goal, and that just didn't seem that way. I was disappointed in Portland's play, quite honestly. Yes, in the first half, they had the LA Galaxy's number. There was. It wasn't for Clement Diop, who hasn't seen a lot of senior team minutes, right? But
Mon Dieu.
Yeah,
He was fantastic.
Excellent.
I loved the sliding save where he comes out
Right.
to the line, and I loved the header at the edge of the box. I love that header.
Yeah, it was in the 18th minute that there was a good chance for Portland. I mean, look, I went over the highlights, right? And so I list them by minute and I write them down. And so here are my highlights for 90 minutes of soccer. Are you ready? 5th minute, you obviously had the LA Galaxy goal, a great goal. Ashley Cole passes a nice little chip, a gorgeous chip. Everything. The play was made because Ashley Cole made this nice little. Oh, it was so delicate.
It really was credit to Cole.
And also let's give some credit to Boateng as well, because he was able to take that ball in and feather it down nicely. Now the cross and the cutback that ends up putting the ball at the top of the box to Mendiola was hopeful at best and lucky. That's fine. I have no problems with that. And Mendiola's shot was not great, but placed perfectly. All those things are great to give the LA Galaxy a 5th minute goal. So that's the first highlight that you get. Then I have a highlight in the 18th minute where Dave Romney didn't clear the ball very well. Jack McInerney passed it to Jack Barmby for Portland, and the shot was eventually deflected by Cole. Yellow Van Dam was in on the stop as well, and Diop made the save. All right, it wasn't really even a shot. It was deflected. It was easy for Diop to do, but it was a dangerous situation. And then in the 26th minute was the real chance, the one that you were talking about, was the diving or the sliding save by Clement Diop on Darren Maddox, put a ball through to Jack McInerney, and Diop beat Jack to the ball, which is amazing and wonderful and perfect. That's really it. I mean, there's some other points in there, Wendy. There's some other semi-close calls. Diop never really had to make a save. He makes one save the whole game, one shot on goal. Everything else goes wide. Nothing really tested him. I mean, it's wonderful. I'm great.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. When the game to me was actually, the first half was entertaining because there was actually a lot of activity. It was very back and forth going up and down the field. But you're right, because although they constantly were creating opportunities and potential chances,
right,
they weren't putting anything on target. Now, I think some of that is really good defending on the part of the LA Galaxy. Once again, this is a point that I made in the article that I published earlier this week, that, the defensive solidity at the back for the Galaxy, ironically this year, is really pretty good. I mean, Van Dam, for me, was man of the match. He did some great defending, just smart little tactical things.
Right.
I know he got warned by the refs and everything, but he is a smart defender. And then Cole is also extremely good and smart. And so, I look at that back line, and so when the opposing team, is creating opportunities, when they're, getting down to their final third.
Right.
The fact that they can't get anything on target suggests that your defense is doing things that they're supposed to do. So I give credit to the LA Galaxy defense and the Portland Timbers. Obviously, they have some exciting young players that were trying to generate something for the team. But in general, I thought the second half was really kind of not that interesting. And you're right, towards the last 5 minutes, I felt like the air just sort of came out of the tires for Portland. I didn't see them pressing. They weren't trying really hard. And that is really surprising from a Portland team because, they get the "You Are My Sunshine" song at the 80th minute. And, Portland, the atmosphere.
Right.
The atmosphere for Portland, that's the 12th man. And so surprised to see Portland not push to the very last minute.
Yeah, it was interesting. If you have any comments on the U.S. Open Cup game, you can give us a call at 949-734-4217. Just keep it to the Portland game for now. We'll completely open up phone lines in the second segment, but I want to know if you have any thoughts on this game, if this means anything more to you. Because for me, listen, everybody's saying that the young guns were on display tonight. And I'm looking at this lineup, Wendy, and I'm saying, yeah, you had Raul Mendiola in there, which I'd consider a young gun. Right? You have Jack McBean, who is considered a young gun. But outside of that, everybody else is pretty much a first-team starter outside of Dave Romney. And Romney, yes, a young gun, but also has played some recently with the first team already. This wasn't... I don't want to shift the narrative to that the young guys are playing well, that's the way it's supposed to be happening.
Yeah, okay, but wait a second.
Yeah.
Raul Mendiola was one of the brightest sparks on the LA Galaxy team.
My man on the match.
Money, the reason that we played so poorly yesterday was I thought our midfield.
Right.
It was just dead weight sitting in the midfield. I thought that Big Red and Baggio just looked gassed. Almost immediately they looked gassed. And I'm just wondering, I know that we've played a lot of soccer. We've had a lot of travel in the past month. But I was just like, what is going on in the midfield? We look dead. And Raul Mendiola was lively. He was a real spark plug.
He was.
And, he got that goal.
He was. No, listen, my man of the match. We said that. Hey, we got a phone call. 310, who's this?
Yo, what up? It's Yossi.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, not bad. I really don't have much to add. I'm happy to win. Winning feels good, and it feels good in the Pacific Northwest. And just to, advance in this tournament, it just feels good. You think we're going to take it? I don't know. I have this feeling that, like, the whole depth thing, I think for the Open Cup, we do have that depth. Talking about Champions League is something different, but I think we can definitely take it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're in a better position now. The real deal is that you play Seattle next. The LA Galaxy will host Seattle. You get that as a home game. Depending on what happens in the quarterfinals and how the hosting goes, I think gives you a better chance. Obviously, hosting against Seattle is better than having to go up to Seattle, so that's a positive. But also, whether or not that next game, if you get by Seattle, is at home, that's important too. I keep saying it. Home games are get the better chance you did. The LA Galaxy just dodged a bullet by winning on the road. Now, if they can get home games throughout, yes, I think they can have it. Who was your man of the match?
I'd have to say Mendiola just because he scored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like Diop. Diop was cool too.
Yeah,
pretty crucial.
Yeah, it was pretty good. All right, we're gonna let you go. Thanks for calling in. All right. All right, there we go. Listen, I said Mendiola was my man of the match. Yes, he scored a goal. Absolutely. He only played 64 minutes, all right? 65 minutes of the game. I understand it. Man of the match. While he was
in... always say that the person who scores is man of the match.
I don't
totally
like that.
Disagree with that because you have to look at really what's going on in the field and see what is the thing that your team is doing the best right now. We defended. That's what we did. We defended. That's what we did. We defended. We scored in the 5th minute and defended for 85 minutes.
Listen, I say Raul Mendiola because I thought he defended well. He came back on both sides of the ball. I'm with you. I don't like to give it to the guy who scores. Who cares? Sometimes you can score and it can be an oops. And it went in. That wasn't the case. Mendiola played it well, but he was active on the offensive and defensive sides.
I do love him. He is so cute, and he's really lively. That's why I felt like when I was looking at our midfield, I was like, there is nothing. There's no energy there. But when you saw Mendiola, he was running, he was defending, he was really active. Really looking for opportunities to make things happen for the team.
Listen, people are gonna, I think, harp on Jack McBean a little bit because I saw it. People were saying he didn't play a very good game. I thought he played well with the hold-up play and what he was trying to do. Remember, like you said, Wendy, the LA Galaxy basically decided to defend for 85 minutes after they scored, which is not something I suggest, by the way, Bruce. I know we've had this discussion before.
He tried to generate offensively. I mean, Jack McBean is coming up from USL. It is a different level. I know that he's played, obviously, in MLS before, but, he is sort of making a leap up. I know you love Jack. You're the biggest Jack McBean fan that there is. I like Jack McBean a lot, but I'm not kidding myself that there's no transition and that it's a big step up from one to another.
It is. But I will also say this. You also, the side note there, if you were following me on Twitter, you caught the side notes a bunch of times because I kept pointing it out, is that one of the last times Jack McBean, played in 2013, he played against Nat Borchers, who was on Real Salt Lake, and Nat Borchers broke Jack McBean's collarbone.
I mean, people fouled Jack McBean brutally. I don't know why. And you and I were making jokes, keeping track of the number of times that he was fouled and it wasn't called because it's true. I don't know. I think it's because he's large. He's a traditional number 9 kind of striker.
Right.
And the only person on the team that we have like that is Gordo. He's sort of a young Gordo, only much better defending.
And better with his feet.
But I mean, I think that people foul him because he's that kind of traditional number 9 striker. And when you have those target guys, one good way to take him down is just fouling.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. But, I was saying we talked, there was little undercurrents of the Nigel de Jong, obviously last time these two teams played. You had Darlington Nagbe and the Nigel de Jong incident and how that was blown out of proportion and all sorts of things. I saw Nat Borchers go at people again. He took out Sebastian Lletget, your Sebastian Lletget, I should point out. Your Sebastian Lletget with just a horrendously dirty play.
I know. And then here's the thing, and I hate to say this because I hate feeding into conspiracy theorists, but I legitimately think that refs do not call fouls on the Galaxy. I feel like if a Galaxy player does anything, they get a foul. If people maul Galaxy players, they don't get called. And I don't know, I think I must be biased because I perceive it so strongly, but I can't help it. That's what it seems to me like happens during every single game. And I can't figure out whether it's real or whether I'm imagining it.
No, listen, I think I'm not going to dismiss it because I think there is something to it. It's not probably as pronounced as you think it is, but I feel it too a little bit, not as much as you, but I think every person who really follows a team feels that way at certain points throughout the season. And I will say that, if you pay attention to one team enough, if you keep watching and looking for those, you start to confirm them a little more, and you see fouls that maybe aren't called. That a neutral might...
Confirmation bias,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you're saying. I'm suffering from the heuristic thinking, right?
Yes.
Confirmation bias.
Yes, as soon as I get a thesaurus and a dictionary to look up that word, I will do that. But no, I think you see it whenever you're looking at it, and to a neutral, perhaps it's a good no call or it's borderline, right? And to somebody who is invested, it's an obvious foul. But I will say this with Nat Borchers. He is one of the dirtiest players in Major League Soccer. He's way dirtier than Nigel de Jong ever is/was.
No.
Nigel de Jong just has
See,
some...
that's the thing that I'm talking about is Nigel de Jong does a foul on the prince of all princes, Darlington Nagbe, and after the game, they have to suspend him because there's such an outcry from Portland fans. If that happened, and during that same game, Jesse Zardes is taken out by Nat Borchers, and no one says boo because, he's a Portland Timber and we're the evil LA Galaxy, and so therefore it's okay.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's a hypocrisy to this mentality that if people do things to the LA Galaxy because they're the monolithic LA Galaxy, overlords,
the evil empire, yes,
the villain of
yes.
one of the villains of MLS, that it's okay. And whereas if you're like the precious Portland Timbers, that you can do whatever you want with impunity.
Well,
and I don't want to. I hate saying that because it sounds so bitter and salty, but. There's a part of me that really thinks it's true.
Yeah, I listen. I think there's lots of Galaxy fans. I know one in particular that definitely thinks that you are correct, Rodney. So I listen. I'm not. Again, I don't discount it, but I think that last year and this year, Portland is liked by a lot of the league. I think that goes away after you win an MLS Cup. People are like, okay, hey, you won an MLS Cup. We can stop with that now, because I did see things where Portland was trying to equate themselves with the LA Galaxy, who have 5 MLS Cups, and you need to step back a little bit, get off your high horse there.
That's cute.
And then you got smacked at home by an LA Galaxy team that wasn't necessarily comprised of starters. Listen, the LA Galaxy got lucky in this U.S. Open Cup game, and they may not get so lucky in the Vancouver game because they got to play Ashley Cole and Jelle Van Dam in this game because they're going to miss the Monday, July 4th game because Cole got a red card in the game before this, in the San Jose game, right?
That's kind of ridiculous too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, totally. We're going to get into that second segment.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. I have more information. Lots of that's going to start its own rant on itself. So Ashley Cole got to play in this game, and Jelle Van Dam got to play because he's suspended for the Monday game because of yellow card accumulation. So that's the only reason they were in this U.S. Open Cup game. If you want to praise Bruce for starting the same back line that started against San Jose, you can, but he got gifted into doing it, because if it's not that way, I have a feeling you don't see Ashley Cole, who's 35 years old and probably would have been saved for the Monday game, playing in this game, and I don't think you'd see Jelle Van Dam. Maybe you would have. Highly unlikely, though, that you see those two players if they weren't going to be suspended for the Monday game. So that's good for the Galaxy, but Bruce put together, again, a lineup that he thought could win, Wendy, and he went in there, and he did it. And he sort of said after the game, it's survival of the fittest for MLS teams in this competition, and it is. You have to get lucky. You have to win some breaks. But, quite honestly, the LA Galaxy having to host Seattle, not the best draw in the world, because Seattle loves the Open Cup. They pretend like it means something every year. It's one of those things that is just really interesting, and so it shapes how we see this game, Wendy, because I don't know that Bruce puts out the same lineup if those players aren't there. And I think the defense was so solid and played very well, especially in the second half, behind Jeff Laurentowicz, who I thought had a good game again. I thought Baggio Sidic was generally poor, but I thought Jeff Laurentowicz played great. I thought, that Van Dam and Romney, I thought Dave Romney played really well. AJ De La Garza, Ashley Cole, and then Diop. The whole defensive side of this played really well. And that's why the LA Galaxy probably were able to win this game. And without having those suspensions, I'm not sure that that's the same outcome.
Well, it was definitely a benefit. Listen, it was good for the Galaxy. It was a risk. I agree. It was a very calculated risk on Bruce's part to decide to play the starting 11 that he did.
Right.
Nonetheless, Bruce calculates, and he turns out that he was correct to do so in this case. I also think it was a benefit for the fans and the game in general. I mean, I thought that Van Dam and Cole, they added a lot of nice quality to the game. You got to see a lot of nice technical play, and that's just like a pleasure for the game, for the fans. It's just nice to elevate sort of the soccer.
Right.
And so I thought that was good because I really genuinely enjoyed the game. I thought it was a nice, fun game.
It was.
Which is, I mean, in Open Cup games, I've seen Open Cup games where I thought it was like it was like a gladiator bloodbath, and I've seen, Open Cup games that were snooze fests. And this was a nice, lively game, a lot of energy and tension. Yeah, it died off in the second half, but I was like, no, it's some good soccer. I like it,
Yeah. It wasn't. Listen, I don't think it wasn't one of those games where the score's 4-3. It was a 1-0 game, and sometimes those can only be so exciting. This was fine. If you're a Galaxy fan, I'm ecstatic as far as the result that they got and the way that they got it. Listen, a 1-0 win, regardless of who's on the field for this LA Galaxy team, is a step in the right direction. So I'm gonna hopefully take this momentum, and maybe the LA Galaxy take this momentum, and they place it to playing Vancouver, who is a very dangerous team and could have a lot of, could do some damage to the LA Galaxy at home. It needs to start happening again. Giassi's artist, Robbie Keane, are back. They're not necessarily back training with the team yet, getting some time off.
I heard that Giassi's going to be given a rest, though.
Yeah, I think that'll happen. I don't think either of these guys will be playing on
You don't think Robbie
Monday.
will play? He barely played for Ireland.
I don't think he's back yet. I think he's getting some time off. I think that's how it's going to work. So I'm not so sure that either of those guys, and Robbie Keane, is he even match fit? He did barely play.
I mean, come on.
Is he?
I feel like he's been gone for a year.
Is he? He's not match fit. You can't say that he is. So I don't know. Maybe he comes in as a sub. Maybe that could happen. We can talk about it in the Vancouver. But I honestly don't expect him to be back. I mean, it's that simple. Robbie's old. People are going to have to start waking up to this. Robbie Keane is old.
Guys who are old actually going to start. Where is Gerard? Where is Robbie? I want my old 35-year-olds. If we're going to pay them, I want them on the field.
Steven Gerrard is back in the fold. There was no way he was ever going to play on turf in Portland for a U.S. Open Cup game. That wasn't going to happen, so that's fine. Giovanni Dos Santos, he's going to be back. I mean, those guys, listen, I expect those guys in that lineup. But listen, for this game, it was perfect. It happened. It did what it did. All you haters who like to say Bruce doesn't take this seriously, he still barely took it seriously, got forced to play some players, and he won a game. So you guys can sit down for another. You can complain whenever he puts out the next U.S. Open Cup lineup on July 20th versus the Seattle Sounders. And we have some information coming up on that as well. So why don't we go ahead and, I think it's time. I think we should take a quick break. Let's go ahead and do that. So We're going to take a quick break. Whenever we come back, we have some LA Galaxy news. We're going to talk some Ashley Cole and the disciplinary committee, because that'll be fun. U.S. Open Cup information as well on the next game on July 20th. Lots of other things to talk about, and of course, previewing the Vancouver game and your calls. If you want to call in the second segment, we'll have those phone lines open. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, and we will be right back.
We are Guys in Short Sports.
Galaxy came back, scored a nice team goal.
What's
Beautiful
a team goal? It comes off of one person's foot.
We're part sportscast,
I don't think Babe Ruth ever hit a home run into a waterfall.
Then he never played in a real stadium.
part backyard barbecue,
USA!
and all LA sports.
Dodger Stadium has a tradition also. They've hosted 8 World Series.
Guys in Shorts, bringing you everything you need to know in LA sports.
I think we should use Chloe as our barometer.
And some of the stuff you probably didn't.
How did we get there?
Guys in Shorts. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher.
listed 107th on the Things I Want More Than Ashley Cole hashtag. It's Corner of the Galaxy.
Hey, this is Chris.
This is Eddie.
This is Jason.
And we're from Back Pocket Memory, and you're listening to Corner of the Galaxy.
Welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman, Wendy Thomas with you once again. Opening up the second segment. I'm excited. Wendy was like trying to force me to talk about all these things in the break. Wendy?
Oh, Josh hates it more than anything in the whole world than when we get off air and I start talking.
Yes. Yeah, because she's all animated and excited, and I'm like, why are we not recording this?
Yeah, because what you want, ultimately, it sounds like, is for me to be a stump when we're off air and to say nothing and to have no ideas and to contribute nothing. And then when we're on air, to be bright and bubbly. But see, I can do this all the time. I can do this all day, every day. You don't have to save me just for air.
All day, every day. Wendy.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I can be bright and bubbly all the time. And articulate and talking about soccer.
Wendy.
I can do all those things.
I'm Team Wendy. I know other people are too. So
Team
Wendy.
I know you're so Team Wendy.
I am.
So can we now talk about all the things that you didn't want me to talk about off air?
Yes, let's do that. Go for it. What's your first topic this is the Wendy section of the show. What is your first topic that you would like to cover?
Well, one issue is, okay, so I was asking you, why do you think it is that Bruce continues to play Emma Boateng, who is pacey, and I love the pace.
Pacey,
and he's very dribbly. And I like dribbling.
Okay, dribbling.
But definitely passing, though. Passing is a problem with him. And we have Jose Villarreal on the bench, who has a beautiful left foot. And I was wondering, why do you suppose it is that Bruce is playing Emma Boateng, who is not a homegrown player, who he brought in from abroad? I mean, I know he grew up and played at Santa Barbara or whatever.
Right.
But, I think Villarreal is also someone you could play in the midfield on the wing. And why do you suppose that is?
I'm not high on either one of them, quite honestly. So
why don't you like Villarreal? I mean, okay, other than the fact that he gets injured at the drop of a dime,
I think I don't like his pace of play. I don't think he makes correct decisions a lot. I think he is this is the problem. And I had this conversation with Dave Denholm last week about Jose Villarreal and where he sort of sits and where, we talk about in baseball, and Dave made the comparison. In baseball, you have the AAA and then you have major leagues. And some of those guys are like 4A guys. They're not good enough for major leagues, but they're too good for AAA. And I feel like that's Jose Villarreal. I feel like he's too good for USL and he's not good enough for the LA Galaxy. People have a love affair with him, and I do not. I've watched him play a whole bunch for LA Galaxy 2 this year. I haven't been impressed with his pace or his timing or his link-up play. I've been more impressed with Jack McBean and Raul Mendiola. Those are the guys I'd like to see. I want to see Raul Mendiola play more. So if you can put Raul Mendiola in there in place of Emma Boateng, raise my hand. Let's do that.
Either of them.
Yeah, let's do that. But not Jose Villarreal. Not for me. He hasn't shown me enough. He doesn't show me the fire, the want, the battle. He may be upset that he's playing for USL right now. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, hey, I understand. That's a tough break. I mean, you don't want to have to go through that. But for me, he doesn't create enough. If you're going to call him a creative player, he doesn't create enough for me. He's small and he plays small. There's guys who are small and play bigger. I think
Raul Mendiola's got to be smaller than Jose Villarreal.
He is, but I think Mendiola plays bigger than Jose Villarreal. However you can define that, that's what it looks like to me. It's the eye test for me. What happens? And I'm not a fan of Jose Villarreal. If he goes down in USL and tears it up and shows me that he is the guy down there, then yeah, sure, no problems. But Raul Mendiola was an assist god down there last year. Jack McBean scores goals like crazy. Ariel Lassiter was, a goal-scoring machine last year. He's injured. Otherwise, I think that possibly he'd be playing instead of Jack McBean. So all of these things are fine, but Jose Villarreal for me is not at the top of the list of people I need to be playing, and I'd rather play Emma Boateng, and I'm glad that I wrapped it up right there because we do have a call. 323, who's this?
What's going on, Josh? It's Jose.
Jose is in the house. Wendy, do you want to talk to Jose?
Hi, Jose.
Hey, what's going on, Wendy?
Not much. Glad you called.
All right, perfect. Now we got the phone thing sorted out.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she probably didn't listen to last week's podcast with you and Dave. I think another thing that we were talking about with Jose is that he's not quick enough to, go one-on-one with a defender, or he's just not quick enough to kind of put the pass in. So I think that's probably a reason why Bruce just doesn't trust him in that situation. Now, the thing is, if you want to put Raul Mendiola in, which
would make sense. He's got the hot hand. You'd either have to sit or bench Leggett or McGee, correct? Because I think those are the two wingers currently in the season.
Yeah.
'Cause I know you got Steven Gerrard and you got Nigel Villarreal in the middle, and in the wings usually it's Leggett and McGee for the most part, unless once Keno comes back, Zardes comes back, and then Gio, basically puts either Leggett or McGee in the bench. So it's just going to be. I mean, we were talking about this since the beginning of the season as far as a loaded roster, and I mean it's good to have a loaded roster, but then it's kind of hard to kind of keep everyone happy because someone's going to have to hit the bench, and those are just tough decisions that are going to have to be made. But I mean, as far as Raul, he had a great game yesterday. We just got to applaud him for that. It's one of those situations where I know you've been talking about this for weeks, Josh. It's where people clamoring for the young kids to kind of be given a shot, and for the most part, sometimes they don't take advantage of the opportunity. But
right.
Raul definitely kind of hit the ground running, and he took every bit of that opportunity that was given to him. So it's great to see that he had a great game. And then Clement Diop, I mean, he's great. He's got instincts even from last season in Los Dos. Sometimes, it does kind of cause errors if he kind of comes off the line and he whips on a cross or something and results in a goal. But more or less, at least he's committed one way or another. He doesn't kind of get caught in the.
Thank you, Jose. That brings me to one thing. Jose, you can tell me, do you think that Diop should be in the running to kick off Rowe? Because
I'm sorry.
He played really, really well. I think we should get a competition going between all three of the goalkeepers and during any given
Kennedy,
game.
Come on, all three of the goalkeepers. Ben Kennedy, can't even get playing time. So I'm pretty sure out of the three, he's pretty much the third stringer at this point. I think Diop's been the bench player or the bench goalkeeper during the last couple of MLS games as well. But I think the way Bruce has it structured right now, it's fine. Keep Rose starting all the MLS games for now, unless there's an injury, and then that's when you probably would throw on Diop. But then you allow Diop to just take the reins on the U.S. Open Cup competition. That's how at least I would picture it to be, and I'm pretty sure that's what Bruce is going to be doing, at least for this tournament and for this season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Listen, I have some updates on Dan Kennedy that we'll get to here in a second. He is injured, so we finally figured out that he's injured. So perhaps that's why.
Oh.
But I am in agreement with Jose and probably with Wendy that Dan Kennedy is probably the third string guy right now.
Yeah, I know. The one that Bruce decided he really, really wanted.
Well, hey, it works out that way. Sometimes it works out that way. All right, Jose, anything else for you?
One more thing.
Yep.
As far as we figured out about the Jack McBean is no longer considered a homegrown player, and after yesterday's performance, I'm not sure how or where Raul Mendiola falls into that homegrown player status. I know he's
a homegrown player.
Sure
he's still a homegrown player.
Yeah, he still has his status, so he's fine. Listen, the Jack McBean saga on the homegrown stuff, I have a feeling is going to take a couple more twists and turns. So even though I confirmed that Jack McBean is no longer a homegrown player with Major League Soccer,
oh my God, they're going to redesignate him as a homegrown player.
I'm just saying, hold on.
Everyone's going to be so upset that they made another rule for the Galaxy.
LA Galaxy got another
player, right?
Yes.
Maybe I have a really good idea for the rest of MLS. Maybe the reason why you always think that people are making rules in favor of the LA Galaxy is because the LA Galaxy test the rules in ways that no other teams do.
Yeah, they're first all the time. That's what it is. All right, Jose, I'm going to let you go, buddy. All right?
All right, thanks for taking my call.
All right, later. All right. No, listen, I know nothing right now. I'm just saying that with Jack McBean and the homegrown player, I just don't. I am confident in what I have written and what I have told you that Jack McBean is no longer a homegrown player. However, I don't know that that's going to stay that way forever. So let's just keep an eye on it, and I will continue to dig, and I'm going to ask some questions of some other people because apparently this is my life now, is knowing whether or not Jack McBean is a homegrown player.
And I would be happy, by the way, if you put in Raul Mendiola. I love some Raul Mendiola. I just don't know Emma Boateng. He gives the ball away.
I don't like him.
In really sort of numbskulled ways, and I don't.
Yes.
And I know he's fast and everything,
Yes.
but I don't know. He's so fast and he has a lot of energy and stuff, but he gives the ball away, man, and he just needs to learn to pass.
He needs to. I agree. Listen, I'm gonna a quick Corner of the Galaxy announcement. Obviously, follow our show live on YouTube. That's how you can call in and be part of the show, and that's what we do. So you can look at that. Corner of the Galaxy is our channel on YouTube. If you type in Corner of the Galaxy, you'll find it, and that's how you can do it. Also, we still have CoG magnets for sale, although I love them on my filing cabinet in here, all of them, and so it pains me a little bit when you buy one and I have to ship it out. But please go to the shop and buy some, so that way we can get more stuff. That's how it is. You buy it, I produce more stuff. So there's CoG magnets in here as well. All right, let's get to some LA Galaxy news. Are you okay? Can we?
Yes,
okay.
Go ahead.
Dan Kennedy injured, by the way. I wanted to point that out again. He is injured. That showed up on the injury report this last week. So, take that what you want to do. All right. Two LA Galaxies. You already knew this. This already happened, but midfielder Alejandro Covarrubias and defender Lee Nishanian, both for LA Galaxy 2, were signed to short-term contracts for the U.S. Open Cup. Neither one of them played in the U.S. Open Cup against Portland, but it was a short-term contract. This is something they did with Jack McBean whenever he was brought up for the La Maquina game before they eventually signed him to a long-term deal. I wanted to go over this real quick because, again, you know how I like to dig into little contract issues and things like that.
Your tendency to be litigious is appreciated by no one else more than me.
Okay, good. Then here is the deal on short-term loan deals, okay? Because there is a limit to them, and so you have to understand that strategy whenever Bruce Arena is making these calls and bringing these guys up. Here is the quote from the LA Galaxy's press release. My guess is that Major League Soccer made them put in. MLS clubs may sign players from their USL affiliate to short-term agreements up to 4-day contracts for CONCACAF Champions League, the Canadian Championship, the Amway Canadian Championship, the U.S. Open Cup, and exhibition matches, all right? An MLS club may sign a player to a maximum of 4 short-term contract agreements each season for a total maximum of 16 days. All right, so Covarrubias was already called up for La Maquina and then got called up again, so he's technically on 8 days of use because basically you have 4 contracts, blah, blah, blah. I think you could probably stretch it, but you can't have a maximum of 4. So I figure every time you sign a short-term deal, you just basically count it as 4 days because that's how it's going to work, is my guess, because you can't sign more than 4 contracts, and the maximum can only be 4 days. So it's basically like he has 8 days, so he has 8 days remaining of being called up. Just something to keep an eye on. There are rules to these things. Okay?
Oh, there are rules, and then there are rules within rules and rules within those rules. I love it. More MLS minutia for me to learn. I love it.
Yeah, and then there's rules for just the LA Galaxy for all you LA Galaxy haters.
Of course.
Out
And
there.
then there's the special rules,
Yes.
which league makes up just for our benefit,
That's
right?
That's the only reason the LA Galaxy have 5 MLS Cups is because they just make up rules for
It's
us.
all the special rules that we get.
Yes. Ashley Cole. Let's talk about Ashley Cole.
I want to talk about Ashley Cole.
This is about his red card in the San Jose game in the 94th minute or so. Ashley Cole has been issued a fine by the disciplinary committee. LA Galaxy defender Ashley Cole received a red card in the 90-plus minute of LA's match against the San Jose Earthquakes on June 25th. The MLS disciplinary committee has found Cole guilty of failing to leave the field in a timely manner after receiving his red card. Cole has been issued an undisclosed fine for his actions. Here are my questions, Wendy. All right? For the disciplinary committee. Who I generally have great disdain for. I do not like them one bit. I do not like them in a moat. I do not like them in a boat. How many players did the disciplinary committee talk to about the confusion during this game? If you remember, Kevin Stott, the referee for this San Jose game, gave Ashley Cole a yellow card initially for his tackle. Then, amidst a group of 4 or 5 LA Galaxy players, Stott held up a red card, and apparently that was for Ashley Cole. Although, who could know, because if you watch the video, there are 4 or 5 LA Galaxy players who all said, who, me? Right? So anything that happens, and we all thought that it was because Ashley Cole said something to Kevin Stott, Wendy, but that's not the case. LA Galaxy insider Adam Serrano talked to players after the game, and they said no, the referee changed his mind and decided that it was a red card for his tackle. So the disciplinary committee fined Ashley Cole for not leaving quickly, except that there was a bunch of confusion going on and nobody actually knew who was being sent off. So they fined him when the referee failed to clearly mark who the red card was for, and the referee decided to change his mind. Why did the referee decide to change his mind? So now I have a question for Pro, the professional referees
PRO,
organization. PRO, right? Professional Referees Organization is, what the heck is wrong with Kevin Stott? All right, because he made either a poor call in issuing a yellow card, which, by the way, that tackle was a yellow card. That was not a red card tackle. It wasn't even close to a red card tackle. So what's wrong with Kevin Stott that he incorrectly issues a yellow card and then has to change it to a red card and then doesn't clearly define that play. I want to see the pro play of the week. Every once in a while, a pro will come out and say, like, when their referees either did something good or bad. I want to see it on this play because, quite honestly, it was horrible game management by Kevin Stott. And it goes right along with Wendy's, the referees are out to get the LA Galaxy, because I can't even fathom this. But Ashley Cole got fined for this. There is a complete disconnect here, Wendy, between pro and the disco.
PRO, pro, when they do things like this, it only serves to confirm their extremely poor reputation among the fan base.
Yes.
And, it's disappointing that we can't create or hire or school or train referees who can manage the games better than this and who can make better decisions. And of course, I'm upset because I do think that for whatever reason, the referees have decided that, LA Galaxy players are going to be targeted or whatever. But I would be upset if that had happened to, if I was a San Jose Earthquakes fan and that had happened, if they were playing down here in LA. I mean, that's
if you were
any fan, it's just like bizarre. It's bizarre decision making. It doesn't make sense, and it's also another instance, along with the Nigel de Jong thing, of the referees, retroactively deciding to penalize a player after the game, and it's so strange that happens to us.
Yeah, initially we did think it was a yellow card and then a straight red. And by the way, if you were a San Jose fan, I wouldn't be talking to you. But we'll continue past that. Ashley, listen, it's weird because it was confusing. It was confusing to everybody who was watching the game. It was confusing to the players, which all the players have said. And so the disciplinary committee, which doesn't have, I believe, a pro representative on the disciplinary committee, they go in and they find Ashley Cole. So again, how many players did they talk to understand the situation? Because if you're watching it on tape and you say, well, Ashley Cole took a really long time, did you think maybe there was confusion there? Because he did take a long time.
So maybe he didn't leave the field because he didn't understand that he was the one who was being carded.
And maybe he did, and he was just being a dick. I mean, that's a possibility too.
I mean, there's a ton of maybes or whatevers, but I cannot imagine the decision-making process that went on in that committee where they looked at the tape and were like, yes, this deserves a red card.
See, that's the thing. It wasn't even that Disco issued a red card. They didn't. They just issued a fine for Ashley Cole it was Kevin Stott who issued a red card. And
I know, but even like, why are you fining him? What's the point? He did. I mean, I have no idea.
No,
I can't get inside the head of MLS referees.
If it makes anybody feel any better, that fine was probably $250. So, I mean, it's like I could pay that fine for Ashley Cole if he really needed it. If he needed me to, float him a couple bucks.
He does. He's still got some of that Roma money.
Okay,
so
good.
Don't worry. Okay. He's okay.
All right, so we move on now. LA Galaxy to play a U.S. Open Cup versus Seattle on July 20th, a 7:30 p.m. game. Here is the fun thing that Josh was alerted to by a eagle-eyed Twitter follower, and I forget who it was, so I apologize. But the LA Galaxy on July 20th weren't supposed to be home at any point during sort of this stretch. Their last home game is on July 15th against the Houston Dynamo, and then they go away to play Portland on July 23rd, my birthday, if you want to send gifts. Sunday, July 31st, is against Seattle for MLS play away as well. And the reason behind that is that the CrossFit Games, which come to StubHub Center almost every year now, are running July 19th through the July 24th. So there's a field conflict right now. The LA Galaxy get to host that game, but where are they going to host it? I actually did some reaching out to LA Galaxy PR Wendy. I asked the question, and they said right now that they don't have confirmation on exactly where the game is going to be played. It could be played at StubHub Center in the main stadium. Absolutely. And I think that they're going to figure it out here in the next day or so. So I don't think it's going to be a long term. But there is an issue here with the fact that StubHub Center is technically being used by the CrossFit Games, which usually take up the main stadium and put a whole bunch of stuff. And that's usually when we rip out the grass and put in new grass. After
I hate it when we rip out the grass.
Do it every year. Do it every,
I know.
It's one of those things. But anyway, so just keep an idea behind that. Now, possible options is playing at the track and field stadium because they did just widen that field. It's almost as wide. It's as wide as the main field, but not as long. It's about 10 yards shorter than that field, so just a little bit shorter. They could play there, but that wouldn't be... I would think that you would have way too many people show up for that game to be able to play at the track and field stadium. Or perhaps you could go back to LA Galaxy history and play a game at Cal State Fullerton. Because if you remember in 2001, it was Alexi Lalas who ran up the Ice Plant Hill at Cal State Fullerton in a semifinal match against the Chicago Fire. And in 2001, they eventually ended up with the LA Galaxy won the U.S. Open Cup that year. So
that would be so OG.
It would, and they've played there even since I've been a fan in 2009, like maybe in 2010, 2011, there was either an Open Cup game or, I think it was an early stage Open Cup game that got played at Cal State Fullerton. So you could do that as well. Again, probably, I would think that more than enough people would be at that game that to make that stadium too big. So anyway, just some things to keep an eye on. Again, I like to throw some curveballs out there for you guys every once in a while. I will also point out, Wendy, the LA Galaxy will get to play the Seattle Sounders 3 times in July.
One would think that someone might organize this schedule so that we don't do things like play San Jose twice in 1 month and then Seattle twice in 1 month. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot of opportunities to see this young kid Jordan Morris. I've been interested in scouting him, and I'm really gonna be able to check his game out because I have a feeling I'm gonna see a lot of him coming up.
So the LA Galaxy will be at Seattle on July 9th. Then they'll be home July 20th, somewhere at home, somewhere in California, I imagine, somewhere around maybe the Rose Bowl. I don't think it's gonna be the Rose Bowl.
I'd love a game at the Rose Bowl.
And I don't think there's enough people for a U.S. Open Cup game. See, I just flip-flop between the stadiums. And then July 31st, the LA Galaxy will be up in Seattle again. So 2 away games versus Seattle. If you want to know when the LA Galaxy finally get to play Seattle at home in MLS play, it's September 25th at home. I just wanted to throw that in there for you.
Well, I'll tell you, watching that game last night in Portland, I tell you, the ball really bounces on that turf. It is really, really bouncy when it is on turf versus grass.
It is.
It's comical. It really is.
It is. No, it's not the same as grass. I mean, it's never going to be the same as grass until they can figure out something. It doesn't work as well.
I thought that ball was going to go out into lunar orbit. It was just bouncing these huge, big, long bounces. I was like, oh, it really does play differently on turf.
And the Seattle turf is about 1 billion times worse than Portland's turf. So Portland has some of the best. If you're talking about turf fields, Portland top of the heap there.
Oh, I think that Portland. I actually, as much as I criticize Portland, I think that the fans really do support their team a lot. I admire it.
Yeah, no, there's some. I can say that without word. They do a great job supporting their team, and that's good. That's good for them. That's good for the team, and it's good for the league. It makes it look good. So that's fine. LA Galaxy schedule, just real quick. Let's run through the July schedule because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus a U.S. Open Cup game, 6 games in July. That's a lot of games.
That is a lot of games. I feel like, and I just did an article where I went through June and May, and there was a lot of games there too. Are we like doubling up on games? Is it that time of season when there's like 4 overlapping competitions and you've got, I guess that is why depth is so important. Bruce has just got to be thinking to himself, I have to have like player after player after player after player because I'm gonna have to play these guys. That's why Baggio probably looks so tired.
that is why Baggio.
He's probably just played so many games. He's like, damn, you really have to. Yeah, really. I mean, this whole professional athlete thing is really tough.
I do have some bad news for you. Regarding Baggio Husidic.
Okay.
Apparently, the sponsorship with Bulletproof is not. It's not there. Bulletproof Coffee is not there anymore. They moved it to another LA Galaxy player.
Baggio, that's his name.
I know it's still going to be his name. I'm just telling you that. Yeah. It's
so wait a second. The last time I was at the Step Up Center, I think I saw Bulletproof.
They're there. They're just it's just not directly with Baggio anymore. I think they moved it to another player. I want to say it's Alan Gordon, but I'm not 100%.
I'm sorry. Bulletproof Coffee. It is stuck now. I mean, I'm sorry.
It's Bulletproof Baggio.
You linked up with Baggio, and it is forever going to be Bulletproof Baggio.
It is. So anyway, just I thought that maybe you would be interested in that. So I just wanted to give you that heads up. The July schedule: July 4th against Vancouver, July 9th at Seattle, home July 15th to the Houston Dynamo. Again, July 23rd, my birthday. Send gifts. The Portland Timbers away in Seattle again. Then 2 home games to start out August against the New York Red Bulls and Colorado Rapids will be home, I think, to finish up the series with them. Yeah, because they've been here once. We've been there once, so that'll be 3 games in that. And then away to New York City August 20th, August 24th, away to Chicago, and then home again to the Vancouver Whitecaps. So starting to wrap up series. I'm starting to check some of them off. San Jose's already done. You're going to have Vancouver done.
I assume that MLS is going to be completely obnoxious about Steven Gerrard playing Frank Lampard the way they were last year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
and
I can look forward to that.
And it's a travel game, and it's played on a postage-sized field in New York. So, why?
Oh, we're playing in a baseball stadium, folks.
He probably won't even show up, so that'll be fine. Which would be so much fun. Quite honestly, the trolling that goes on. Gerrard's jersey was spelled incorrectly, Wendy, in the San Jose game.
Death threats from Liverpool fans.
They can go take a long walk off.
Liverpool fans, you guys, relax.
Long walk.
My goodness.
Off a short pier. All right.
Oh my goodness, Liverpool fans. There's Liverpool fans ready to not just the LA Galaxy, but like you and me personally, Josh.
Oh yeah, because
to like claw our throats out.
It was my fault.
You have no respect, and you have no. I mean, you'll never understand how the disrespect. I'm like, oh my God, relax.
Calm down, Liverpool fans. Park it.
I promise, Steven Gerrard is okay.
By the way, people pulled up times that Liverpool had misspelled their players' names as well.
Goodness.
So listen, it happens. It's okay, and it was Gerrard. All right, so yeah, Gerrard is Gerrard.
He's like rad. Hello.
Yeah, totally awesome. Okay. Onward and upward. This show off the rails in the last 10 minutes, which is good. MLS standings, Western Conference. LA Galaxy, 9 points now underneath the Colorado Rapids.
Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it, folks? Parody.
Listen,
this is what we call parody.
Listen, Colorado's going to struggle now because they just got Tim Howard, and that's going to change some things. Not really, but I'm hoping. And so the struggleness of signing a designated player.
The struggleness?
Yes.
Did you say the struggleness?
Yeah, I can make up words.
Okay,
I'm allowed
good.
to. So the struggleness of having to put in a new designated player who's a goalkeeper. Why you waste your money on a goalkeeper?
I don't follow your line of reasoning at all. Okay, we'll just say hypothetically that Colorado.
They're going to struggle. I expect them to
struggle.
lose
The
their
struggleness will be there.
Yeah, exactly. The struggle. I expect them to lose their next 18 games. So I think the Galaxy
Colorado, the struggleness.
Yes, exactly. So Colorado's up top at 32 points. FC Dallas at 31. Real Salt Lake at 27. Vancouver at 24. Portland Timbers at 23. Galaxy at 23. Sporting Kansas City underneath the red line right now at 22. San Jose at 22. And then it drops off a steep, long, dark, deep cliff. And you find Seattle lying at the bottom, bleeding profusely in the 9th spot with 16 points, having played 15 games. And the Houston Dynamo at 14 points, having played 16 games. There you go. Poor Seattle. I really hope that the Galaxy just run the table on them this year and don't give them any. Just step on their throats and don't let them up. They're down right now. They're bleeding. Stick the knife in and twist it.
We appreciate as Galaxy fans Seattle in pain. We really can.
It's wonderful, and quite honestly, the best Christmas gift or birthday gift I could ever get is for Seattle to be finished last in the Western Conference. So I'll keep that hope up. Fingers crossed. See how that goes. They'll start to get some people back. I have a feeling that Clint Dempsey and all of the players will be back for this next Seattle game. So
I think Clint Dempsey's going to be gassed. I think that the second half of the season is going to be tough.
It is. It's always tough for those guys. I think Jose Villarreal is going to be, he's younger, but he played a ton of minutes at midfield.
He played a ton of minutes. He has, of every player, though, on that squad, the one person who I think has an unbelievable engine is Jose Villarreal.
He is. That's what the
LA if anyone can bounce back from back-to-back international games, one after the other, I think it's Jose.
Yeah, he played everything, but I think except 1 minute in 5 games.
I know. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. Supporters Shield is Colorado, obviously, at 32 points. The LA Galaxy in 9th position now, which is just, if my math doesn't fail me here, Wendy, and granted, I went to Arizona State University, not necessarily known for their academic excellence, although getting better. If my math is correct, that's almost halfway down the table.
With 20 teams. We're not exactly the sparkling gem in the ring of MLS.
That's okay. Bruce has this team breathing right now. All right, they're breathing. They're pointing.
I wonder, does every team have this where you play like back-to-back games? Where I feel like we had like a glut of games and we're going into another glut of games.
KC did it. Kansas City had a whole bunch of games to start off the season, and so now they've recovered a little bit. The Galaxy unfortunately got to play all those games right whenever Robbie Keane and Jose Villarreal were missing, and Steven Gerrard was hurt, and Giovanni Dos Santos. So it really didn't help them out very well. We go over injuries for the LA Galaxy as we're about 5 minutes from wrapping this show up today. If you have any more calls, now is the time. Last chance, 949-734-4217. I expect most of you are probably sleeping after Wendy and I went off the rails there in the last 10 minutes. But injuries for the LA Galaxy. Ariel Lassiter still listed with a back injury. Robbie Rogers, obviously, with his ankle, and that 6-week timetable, I believe we're about 5 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks. 5 weeks left on that timetable, so we'll see. Dan Kennedy, leg injury. That was the update, at least that I have on Dan Kennedy. Don't know anything else about that. Daniel Steres, also not starting as of late. Not listed as an injury, but listed as unavailable. But it doesn't mean it's not an injury. It just wasn't classified as what the injury was. So
unavailable.
Yeah, he was unavailable.
What's he doing? What's he doing that he's not available for the LA Galaxy?
I don't know. I have a feeling it's an injury, and I'm hopefully going to training this weekend. So maybe I will perhaps find out more information. So that's sort of where we sit with the injuries, and now we have to look at the LA Galaxy versus the Vancouver Whitecaps coming up on Monday, July 4th, 2016, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to tell you right now that you need to arrive early to this game. Capacity crowd expected. They opened up the grass berm for this game, so...
I love the grass berm.
I know, it's so much fun whenever it's open. The LA Galaxy say that fans that don't arrive by 6:30 p.m. would possibly risk missing the 7:30 p.m. kickoff time.
What?
Yes, they want people to be there early. That's how it is. All right, we got a call. Good. This is good. 951. Who's this?
Hi, this is Juan from Rialto.
Juan, thanks for calling in, buddy. All right, what's your question? Be quick with it. We're wrapping up.
Okay. Since it looks like Gerard is not going to be with us next year, and we're still unsure of Keane, who do you think will fill those DP slots?
Oh, see, this is good. This is good. I like these.
Nigel de Jong.
Yeah,
Nigel de Jong.
Yeah, Nigel de Jong is going to get one. I have a feeling he's going to take the Gerard one. It's whether or not Robbie Keane stays for the next year, and if he does stay, whether or not he is a designated player or he comes underneath it. I think the LA Galaxy would be quite unwise to sign Robbie Keane to another designated player deal. Wendy, I don't know if you think I'm crazy, but I wouldn't do it.
I don't know. I mean,
It's tough.
Historically he's been so good for us, but I feel like this season he's played like 5 games, and I'm like, I feel like I've barely seen him this year. I've been like,
was that knee injury too?
Yeah. No, I mean he's old. He's old Robbie Keane now. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and so you're gonna have to be careful with his minutes. Maybe he doesn't deserve the designated player spot anymore. Which again, not taking anything away from what he's done for the LA Galaxy, Juan, but it's still. It's going to have to be it's a Bruce decision. It's one of those things that I'm glad I don't have to make.
Really quick, do you think he has a future as maybe a coach for LA Galaxy?
I do. I think he definitely has a future as a coach.
Yeah, and I do too. I think that possibly as the LA Galaxy could definitely be. I think that if rumors that I've heard are true, there could be some interesting things happening in the offseason with Robbie Keane and the LA Galaxy. So let's just see if it plays out, and as it gets closer, if they get louder, I will continue to share those. All right, Juan, thanks for calling, buddy.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, so there we go. All right, so back to Vancouver. So again, arrive early for this game, 6:30.
Oh, this is one of my favorite games of the year. I love the fireworks.
Wendy, the 21st annual 4th of July game and fireworks show for the LA Galaxy. It is the longest streak. It is the longest streak of home games played on July 4th holiday in all of professional sports. The LA Galaxy have been doing it since 1996. They have had a July 4th game, and it is the main reason that I have not seen the fireworks at StubHub or anywhere else since 2009.
You don't get to see the fireworks?
Bruce doesn't wait for the fireworks to be over to have his press conference, Wendy.
Oh, the fireworks are the best.
They are. I hear them. They go boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
I love the fireworks.
But yeah, I don't get to see them. So again, that's one of those things. It is what it is. The Vancouver Whitecaps 7-7-3, 24 points, 17 games played, in 4th place in the Western Conference, 6th place in the Western Conference, 5-3-8, 23 points, 16 games played. The LA Galaxy. This is a chance to take some points from a Western Conference opponent, a Western Conference opponent, Wendy, who just played in that Canadian Amway Championship in which they lost to Toronto FC on Wednesday. So they played the same basic time as the LA Galaxy, played in Vancouver, lost on away goals. If you look at the starting lineups between their last game they played in MLS, which was against Philadelphia, Wendy, and the game they played in Vancouver against Toronto FC for that Canadian Champions League spot. The easiest way to get into the Champions League is not the U.S. Open Cup. It's to be Canadian team and play in that tournament. But regardless, if you look at it, Wendy, the lineups are very, very similar. They played a lot of starters in that Wednesday night game. I have to say, advantage LA Galaxy in terms of who the LA Galaxy should have and how restful they are.
Yeah, it is advantage LA Galaxy, although I would say Vancouver is a team which historically gives us trouble.
Yes. They do,
we do
not at home.
We do not have a great record against Vancouver.
Not at home, though. All right? That's the thing. The first time Vancouver ever won in Carson was last year. So that's...
Yeah, but I think we only lost like 2 games at home last year. I mean, or 1. I mean, we rarely lose at home. And so Vancouver's tough because they're very young and fast, and we are old and slow. And so that is not a good matchup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Whitecaps FC had a 3-game undefeated streak alive in this series after winning both league meetings between the teams in 2015. It only played Vancouver twice last year. The Whitecaps FC win in the second meeting a year ago on June 6th was their first ever versus the LA Galaxy in Carson. You look at sort of where they sit and who their major goal scorers are, with Pedro Morales with 6, Kakuta Mane with 5, Bolaños with 5, Rivero with 2, Blas Perez. Blas Perez loves to score against the LA Galaxy. I haven't seen anything on status whether or not he would be playing, but nonetheless, it's still a very good possibility. He was on the bench both times in those games that Vancouver just played. So very interesting. I want to know your prediction for this, Wendy, because we got to get out of here.
Well, it's 4th of July weekend. I'm predicting a home win for the LA Galaxy. I'm going to say it's a win 2-1.
2-1, and that would mean that the LA Galaxy scored 2 goals. Remember, they had 371 scoreless minutes snapped whenever Giovanni Dos Santos scored against San Jose.
This is optimistic, but that's okay.
I like it. That's fine. I think that they're moving in the right direction, so I don't have a problem. The LA Galaxy on a 7-game winless streak. Granted, I think that they lost.
Have to break through that defensive line, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think they've only lost twice in their last 13 MLS games, but it's still a 7-game winless streak. But as soon as you win a game, you can flip that from a winless to a win streak. All right, so an undefeated streak as soon as it switches. So we'll see if that can happen. Again, 7:30 p.m. The game is on Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, Time Warner Cable Deportes. Get your tickets now if you're going to do it. Capacity crowd, arrive early. Don't complain to me whenever you can't get in because you need to get there ahead of time. All right, I will be there at least 2.5 hours before kickoff because I get in early. So that's really why I'm going to be there early. So I can take advantage of that. So for all you normal people, have fun waiting in those lines. That was mean. I didn't. That was over the line, Wendy.
Because you're so super special, you never have to wait for anything. And the rest of us losers are out in the parking lot trying to get in. So, right? Okay, Josh.
Yep. But I don't get to see the fireworks, so I think I'm being
a trade-off. I love those fireworks.
It's not so bad. All right, Wendy. Let's see. Anything else that you want to talk about in 10 seconds or less?
No, I'll see everyone at the game.
That should be fun. Absolutely. Wendy, tell people where they can find you. We'll get on out of here.
You can find me at the Corner of the Galaxy and at American Soccer Now, and you can find me on Twitter at Bardsblonde.
All right, and if you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at JGuesman, JGUESMAN, and at Galaxy Podcast. Of course, is where you can find all of our shows all the time. cornerofthegalaxy.com/live for our live shows. /shop to shop our COG magnets. All that fun stuff is right there for you. Please go ahead and subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Stitcher, on Google Play, anywhere you get your podcasts. Please go out and do that. We certainly appreciate that. All right. Should be a great game. LA Galaxy versus the Vancouver Whitecaps on the 21st consecutive 4th of July game for the LA Galaxy. Should be a lot of fun. For Wendy Thomas, I'm Josh Guesman, and you've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, and we will catch you next time.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.